When we decided to build an early American style home, I started to look for and study old house styles and read up on the ways of life by the people that first occupied them. I wanted to create as much of the old way of life, at least aesthetically, into our home as we could. For example, I didn't necessarily want to cook all of our meals on an open fire in our fireplace, but I wanted it to look like I did. I quickly learned that to achieve the truly authentic architectural features of early American homes, it could be pretty costly though, compared to the way things are done today. So we had to pick and choose the features that was important for us to replicate and do our best to get the look of certain features, even if they weren't authentic to the way they would have originally been done in early America. To add some of the early American character to our ceilings, we added some wood beams to the keeping room ceiling, but some early ceiling characteristics were whitewashed plasterwork or exposed joists and floorboards left in their natural state. One of the first things that I want to talk about is our wood beams. When researching how old homes were actually built, it would be very costly these days to build one the way they used to, with all the wood beams and just all the old ways of building. We knew we wanted to add some wood beams here in the keeping room and upstairs in the guest room, where it's like just a loft room and the ceilings are pretty high up there. So we knew wood beams would really add a lot to that space. Now we could have went with real wood beams, but we decided to go a little cheaper route and still get a great look, and that was by just wrapping the beams in wood. They're actually hollow, but they look like big, huge, giant beams. Now, I wanted the wood beams and the wood on my staircase and our wood flooring to all be close in color so that it all matched. I believe it was called All American Stain, and I will link the stain in the description box below so you'll know exactly what it was. But it ended up working out perfectly, and I was really surprised since our flooring isn't actually wood. It is Lifeproof LVP Flooring, and it's in the color Fresh Oak. And so the stain of our wood beams and the stain that we used on our stairs just happened to all go so well together. I love the look of the wide plank floors like was often used in early American homes. But this is an area we decided to take advantage of the modern convenience of LVP flooring. Let's face it, country life can be hard on floors. It's impossible to keep dirt and debris from being tracked in, and we wanted our floors to be durable for pets. I loved the wide planks and the natural look of the wood grain. I think it works very well with the period theme of our home. Wall surfaces in early homes could vary depending on what materials were available and also the building method that the builder was familiar with. Walls could have been made up of handmade brick, rock picked up off the land, cob, a mixture of clay and straw, plaster, or wood. Therefore, aside from planked walls and ceilings in the little house, the vertical shiplap on the fireplace wall, horizontal shiplap on the kitchen wall, and vertical V-groove on the bedroom and bathroom walls, the rest of our walls and ceilings mimic lime-washed plaster, although they are just painted textured sheetrock. Ceiling finishes in early homes like walls could also vary. Therefore, our ceilings mimic the look of the two. Our rustic wood beams have an authentic look while they are actually faux beams built from stained boards, and the ceiling in between and throughout the rest of the house is painted textured sheetrock. Another way that we added old-fashioned character to our home is with the use of shiplap and also another wood called V-groove. We used the shiplap horizontally on the wall above our sink, and we also used shiplap on the wall where our fireplace is, and we used it vertical on that wall. And then we also used shiplap in our little house on the walls, the ceilings, and everywhere. But my husband actually made it. We used plywood, and Chris cut all the pieces of plywood into 8-inch strips, and then we just put them on the wall. And that was so much work, especially for him, since he did most of the cutting. But that was another great way to get the look of shiplap. Another element to consider when designing an early American style home is paint color. Colors like colonial red, Williamsburg blue, ochre yellow, earthy browns, and muted greens were often used to paint the woodwork. My biggest problem when it comes to paint colors is that I love them all. But I also love the simplistic, austere look of an all-white room and how every single thing in the room has its moment to shine against the white backdrop. Therefore, I did choose 2 different accent colors for a couple of areas in our home. Behr Carriage door is a beautiful shade of green that turned out to be just perfect for the bedroom and bathroom in the little house. The other accent color I went with is Sherwin Williams Ethereal Mood for our primary bedroom and bathroom. It is a soothing grage color that I have also been so pleased with. Although those are the only accent colors in our home, I wouldn't rule out adding a little more color in the future. I tend to be thinking a lot lately about adding some color in the way of paint or possibly even some wallpaper to the powder room and utility room. But all of our shiplap we painted white. The V-groove that we put in our bedroom and our bathroom we ended up painting, and it was actually a really pretty wood though. It would have been nice to stain it as well, but I just really wanted to do paint. So I went with Ethereal Mood. It is, I want to say like a grage color, but it also has a little bit of a green tint to it. So it just kind of depends how the light hits it. Sometimes it's a little more brownish colored, and then other times it looks a little more green. But I absolutely love the color. It is such a soothing color. And for my fireplace, I loved the look of the paneled fireplaces from back many years ago in early America. So I talked to the guys that did the fireplace and showed them pictures, and they were so good to work with me and figure out exactly what I wanted, and they did their best to make it happen. And I'm so pleased with how the wood treatment above our fireplace turned out. So to finish our fireplace out, we put thin brick on the face of the fireplace, and it looks just like a brick-faced fireplace. Well, actually that is because it is real brick, it's just thin. But it's called Old Mill. That's the brand name, is Old Mill Brick. It's in the color Boston Mill, and I just loved the color. And I didn't realize that the different colors all kind of came with different textures as well. And so the Boston Mill brick is actually very smooth, because we ended up using it on our flooring in a couple of places as well. And since it is so smooth, it feels good underfoot, and I have just really loved having it down as flooring. I didn't learn that there would be a difference in the textures of the different bricks that they offered until we ordered brick to go on our front walkway. And when we got that brick, I did order just a slight different color, and I thought it would go well with our chimney outside. And that brick came, and it has a very rough feel to it, and so I'm glad I didn't buy it to go inside on a floor, because it would be really rough on your feet. But it's perfect for outside, so I'm still very pleased with it. We also added brick flooring in a couple of places in our home. We have it in the utility room and also in the little house bathroom. Since brick can be pricey and require masonry skills to put down, we went with thin brick. It's much easier to work with, and though still not what you would call cheap, it's more cost efficient than regular brick. Therefore, we chose Old Mill brick, the same as we put on the fireplace facing, in the color Boston Mill. It has a beautiful, authentic, old brick look and feel. Now, all of our cabinetry in the kitchen areas and our laundry room were all made by the carpenter that worked on our house, and it's all in shaker style, just white, simple white cabinets, and I really like how they turned out. Our vanities in the bathrooms, we did go a different route. I ended up going with some pieces that looked more like furniture, and I really like them. They look a little more colonial. They're more of a traditional style, or I do think they kind of go with the colonial look. So I do like them, and we ordered them through Home Depot. And so all three of our bathrooms in the new part of the house has those vanities, and they're all the same style. I just ordered them in different sizes to fit the different bathrooms, and also in different finishes. And for the sink in my laundry room, we actually went with an old-fashioned original sink from like 1920. The date was stamped on the bottom. I can't remember if it was 1910 or 1920 now, but it had a date on it. We found it at an outside sale. It was one of those big outside markets where you can go to. It was in Oklahoma, and I loved going to it. I love going to things like that. And so we just happened to find it there. We went with just a simple wood trim around our windows and doors. And the doors on our house look like plank doors. Our front door is a wood plank door, and then the bedroom doors look very similar to that, but they do have a square shaped trim around the whole door, but then the center part looks like wood planks. And so I thought they looked really old-fashioned. Then I thought it would be very fitting to go with some wrought iron pieces on the front door. And I thought about going with some hinges like that on our bedroom doors and other interior doors, but I thought that might be just a little much. So I wanted to keep things simple, and I just added some oval shaped black doorknobs to the interior doors. All of our white walls and trim and doors are painted Sherwin-Williams extra white, aside from the doors that are in our bedroom and bathroom that we did paint Ethereal Mood. We did paint the walls a more eggshell color, and then the trim and the shiplap is painted a semi-gloss, so that does make them look a slight bit different, but it is the same color. Another thing that I added to the walls to give it that old-fashioned character is peg rails. But they just add all the old-fashioned charm. The staircase was another feature that was important to me. I wanted it to look like it belonged in an early American country home. Pinterest has many pictures of period homes that I looked through, and this seemed to be the style that I saw again and again. I loved how you could see the wear in the center of the stair treads from all the times that the home's occupants had gone up and down them for hundreds of years. Hopefully our stairs will look like that someday as well. Lighting seems so simple that it wouldn't matter much, but it has a high impact on the overall style of a room. CarriageHouse lighting and tinware creates the most beautiful tin candlelight chandeliers. They are so authentic to the period style. Some of the other lighting that I got was some smaller chandeliers, Whaler chandeliers, Cambridge lights for the powder room and the utility room. Tin sconce lights from the tin bin light the stairway, and wood and metal vanity lights go above the mirrors in the powder room and upstairs bathroom. For the lighting in our house, we went with all 10 light fixtures, and they are from CarriageHouse Lighting, and I am so pleased with them. They just added all the character, and that just seemed to finish off the whole background of our home, and we were ready to add all the other pieces like furniture and accessories. I was able to find a camelback sofa and also some wingback chairs that do recline, so my husband was happy with those, and I will be sure to link those in the description box. A lot of our other furniture pieces I was able to get on Facebook Marketplace or at our local antique store that I frequent. And so I just look for things like candle stand tables and just any kind of table, whether it's old or not, because some tables are actually modern, but they still have that old-fashioned look, like the one we have in our living room. And I've been very fortunate to find some old cupboards and cabinets that I have found a way to use for decorating and other useful purposes around the house. In our bedrooms, I was able to add a vintage metal bed that I found at an antique store years ago, and it's in the guest room in the little house. And then on Facebook Marketplace, I was able to come up with a great deal on an antique bed, and so we put it upstairs in the loft bedroom. And then I have a traditional style bed for our master bedroom that I've had now for very close to 30 years now. And it, to me, goes along with the colonial style pretty well. So then I wanted to decorate our home in a very simplistic, utilitarian style from the early American days. And so I just look at mostly antique stores because that's what we have around here, but you can also find this type of stuff at thrift stores. I just don't really have a good thrift store around me in my area, but any places like that will oftentimes have these types of accessories. And so I love finding anything wrought iron candlesticks and sconces. You can almost always find some old vintage or antique knives and wooden spoons and anything utilitarian for the kitchen. And then you can also find little stools. They work great for risers or just actually a little footstool or something to just decorate with. And I love finding little stools. I'm kind of addicted to them. love collecting old books and using them in my decor. Another of my favorites is brownware. I love the brown pottery, and actually I love all the pottery, but I'm trying to stick to the basics and not get carried away collecting too many things. But I do love the brownware, and I have recently gotten into the transferware that I've been putting in my dining room, and I do have one piece of yellowware that I have in the upstairs bedroom. I have a few copper pieces around the fireplace. I like to collect pewter pieces, whether it's measurers or some plates to go on my plate rack. Any kind of old candlesticks. And I can't forget all of my antique baskets. Baskets are a great way to add some antique, early American style to your home. And I can't get enough old wood accessories like cutting boards and old wood bowls. I love wood barrels. My most recent one is a blue barrel, and I was really happy to find it. I have a couple of coverlets that are from the 1800s, and if you can find those are great to add to your home for this style. And you can either use them or just look at them, and I just use mine for decor, but they would look really nice actually on a bed. Windsor chairs are also a great piece of furniture to add to this style of home. So if you find old ones, that is great. I would love to have some actual old Windsor chairs, but in my area I just never really seem to come up with those. So I ordered mine, and so mine are actually new, but they do have that good old-fashioned colonial look, and I'm very happy with them. Antique samplers are another great way of adding some old-fashioned charm to your home, and I have a few that are antique. There are a lot of really nice reproductions out there, and I think it would actually even be fun to make one myself, but I haven't attempted it yet. Maybe that will be something that I will do in the future. I also love old wooden boxes, wooden crates, and wooden firkins. There are so many old-fashioned things that you can fairly easily collect, or even if you don't collect, if you just get one or two to add here and there, it really adds a lot of the early American style to your home.